Hey friends, Gabe here from drumbeatsonline.com, a website that helps you become a better drummer. Today we are learning the ultimate drum lick, and you're probably wondering what makes this lick so special. Well, in my mind, this lick is insanely versatile. This is something that we can turn into a really cool drum chop, which we will learn here in a second, and then by playing the same sticking pattern, we can come up with a really awesome groove. So without any further ado, let's learn this sticking pattern and work on making it a fill, and then after that, we'll turn it into a cool groove. All right, so I did sell this as the ultimate drum lick, so this has to be something crazy. So let's play a group of 17 notes, played in 15/16 time signature with quintuplets on the double bass pedal. And then we'll just reverse it afterwards. Sound good, right? All right, yeah, let's do that. All right, so obviously I am just kidding with you. We are not playing any of that crazy stuff. We are going to be playing a pattern of 6 notes. That's right. The ultimate drum lick is made up of a 6-note sticking pattern. So if you can count to 6, you're gonna be able to play this lick. So the sticking pattern here is just gonna be right, left, left, kick. That's it. So what we're gonna be doing with that sticking pattern dynamically is every single one of those left hands are going to be ghost notes, and every one of those right hands are going to be nice, strong, accented notes. We are also gonna play this pattern as sextuplets, otherwise known as 16th note triplets. So if we were gonna hear that with a click, that would sound like this. So let's take this pattern real quick and play it on the snare drum at a slow tempo and just hear how it sounds and get a little bit more familiar with it. So as you can hear, those right hands are all very accented, and those left hands are all very quiet and ghost noted on the snare drum. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna repeat this pattern 4 times to turn it into a 1-measure drum fill. So what I really want to emphasize with this lick is explore with it. I'm gonna show you pretty much one of the simplest applications of this chop possible, just to get you nice and familiar with it. But then later on, I'll show you how you can explore this chop and how fun it can be. That's why I'm not teaching it to you right off the bat with all these crazy orchestrations, because I want you to be able to explore with it because it's a really versatile chop. So we're gonna start off with a super simple application of this drum fill. What we're gonna do is we're gonna keep our left hand on the snare drum the entire time, and we're just gonna move those right hand accents along the drum kit. So the first time we're just gonna hit those 2 notes on the snare drum, then 2 notes on the rack tom, and then for the next 2 beats, we're gonna stay on the floor tom. So now let's hear how this chop sounds at a few different tempos. Check it out. So this is a super fun chop. Once you start getting to those faster tempos, things start to sound really cool. Now, my favorite part about this chop is the sounds that we can get when we start to explore around the drum kit, when we start to break out of this little box that we've created for ourselves and start moving our left hand around, start doing different things with our right hand. So now let's see how we can explore with this chop and do a few different fun things with it. First, let's explore with our right hand a little bit. Next, we can sweep between the drums with our right hand. Now let's move our left hand to the hi-hats. Now let's mix and match all the different possibilities. So as you can see, you can do so much with this chop, and it just feels really fun to play. It's just a really great, solid chop. But now, let's play this same exact sticking pattern, but turn it into a groove. All right, so the rules for this groove are pretty similar to the fill. The left hand, we are ghost noting the whole time, and we are keeping that on the snare drum. And then those right hands are gonna be nice and accented. But now for the majority of the time, the right hand is going to live on the hi-hat. So the first time through the pattern, the first 6 notes, we're gonna play those first right hands on the hi-hat, and then everything else is a ghost note on the snare drum, and then the kick. And then the second time through the pattern, the first time we come down with the right hand, we're gonna come down on the snare drum. So now that's gonna land on beat 2 to give us a little bit of a backbeat. And then the second time through that right hand accent, we're gonna come back onto the hi-hat. And then we are pretty much just going to repeat that. So the first 6 notes, we have 2 notes on the hi-hat with the right, and then the second 6 notes is the first right is on the snare drum, so now it's on beat 4, and then the second right is back on the hi-hat. The only thing we are going to add to make this feel just a little bit more like a groove is we are gonna put a bass drum on beat 1 and a bass drum on beat 3. But we are not taking away any of the other bass drums that would already be there. So with all of that in mind, let's hear how this 6-note lick sounds when we play it as a groove. Check it out. So this is such a cool groove to play. I feel like at fast tempos it sounds really cool and sporadic, but then when you slow it down, it almost has like this shuffle feel and it just kind of vibes. It's really, really cool. But there is one more thing that we can do to turn this groove into a little bit of like a groove fill hybrid that I really like to do. So if I'm playing this pattern as a groove, maybe after a couple measures, I'll throw in this just change in notes, really just a change in what my right hand is doing, and it makes this groove sound a little bit more like off time, and it just sounds really cool. So all we're gonna do is we're keeping everything the same. The kick pattern is the same. The left hand is still just ghost noting on the snare drum. But what we're gonna do is every time with the right hand, we're gonna sweep between the hi-hat and the snare drum. So that first right hand is gonna be played on the hi-hat. Then the second right hand is gonna be played on the snare drum. So that's where things change the most. Then the next time we're playing the right hand on the snare drum, and then we're coming back to the hi-hat. So on that beat 2, that's the same. So really the only times it's changing is beat 1 and beat 3. And we're just adding in the snare drum on that second right hand. So let's hear what this fill/beat hybrid kind of sounds like. So again, in my mind, this is the ultimate drum lick just because there's so much that we can do with it. And I would love to see what you guys can do with it. Make sure to tag me in anything that you try out with this lick. I would love to see your interpretation of it. If you guys want more things Drum Beats Online, you could check out my podcast on the Apple Podcast app or on Google Play Music for the Android users. It's mostly just a lot of this.
Why are you smiling?
And this. And a little bit more of this. Or you could always find me on drumbeatsonline.com. I am working on an incredible new website right now with a bunch of awesome content that I can't wait to show you. Thank you so much for watching this lesson, guys. I really appreciate it, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks, guys. Bye.